This is the foldable for section 5.5, and we're going to fold it towards the center. Hmm, 5.5, and this is graphing inequality with two variables. So we're graphing lines. We have this equation right here. I want to remind you that the y-intercept is 0. And the slope is 1 to the 1 up and 1 to the right. So let's go ahead and graph this. We start at the 0. We're going to go up 1 and to the right 1. Since there is no line in this inequality, we have to make this a dashed line. What does that mean? That means that when you make the line, it's not solid. You don't complete the line. So it looks like this. Please make sure that you graph outside of the coordinate plane just so I can see it a little better. Like this. This is considered a dashed line. And since it has a less than symbol, we're graphing below this line. Some students don't understand this very well. So below the line means that at the y-intercept, anything below would be what I want you to graph. But it's below the whole line. So this has possible solutions, and it says circle the solutions. What it means is that it's in the shaded region. So let's do -3, 1, 2, 3, +2, 1, 2. Is not a solution for this inequality because it's not in the shaded region. 0, 0. 0, 0 looks like it's on that graph, on that line, but remember the line is not included because there's no line underneath. So the 0, 0 is also not a solution. So I'm going to say that again. On the line was not included. That's why we made it a dashed line. And that's why 0, 0 would not be part of the solution. And then 2, 1, 2, 1 is in the shaded region, so this is a solution. Let's take a look inside. All right, so let's graph this one again. We have a -2 as your y-intercept, so you start down here. This 3 means that we're going to go up 3, but if you can't see the denominator, we're going to go 1 to the right. So up 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1 to the right. You can do it again, 1, 2, 3, and 1 to the right. Because there is no equal sign underneath, this will be a dashed line. Make sure that you graph outside of the coordinates just so I can tell that you meant to draw a dashed line. Because it's less than, we have this shaded region right here. And just to save us a little bit of time, I'm not going to do all the points on this graph, but just a few. To make sure that you're okay. Let's try 0, 0. 0, 0 is right there. And since it's not in the shaded region, this would not be part of the solution set. And let's try 2, 1, 2, -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is right here. It is part of the solution set because it's in the shaded region. So this one would not be, and this one is. I'm going to go ahead and circle the ones that are part of the solution just so you can have them, that list. But to save us time, we're not going to check them all. Let's go ahead and graph the next inequality. We're going to start at a +4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one means that we're going to go down 2 and to the right 3. So down 2, 1, 2, to the right 3, 1, 2, 3. Remember, because there's no line underneath, we're going to make a dashed line. And then because it says less than, we're talking about the shaded region below the line. So it would be all of this area right here. I don't need you to darken it in too heavily because in case you made a mistake, I would want it easy to erase. Let's check just a few. Let's check -2, 3. This one right here. -2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It is part of the solution set because it is on the shaded region. So we're going to circle that. And then I'm going to check 1, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one would not be part of the solution because it's not in the shaded region. And out of this one, this is the only one that's not part of the solution. All of them are part of the solution. So I'm just doing a few to save us a little bit of time. Let's go on to the next section. To remind you, this has a y-intercept of 0. This has a numerator of 1. That means that we're going to go up 1. And the denominator, if you can't see it, will always be 1. That means 1 to the right. So up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1. It will be a dashed line because this doesn't have a symbol underneath. Dashed. The equal to makes it the solid line. We're going to make a dashed line. Now this says greater than. So if you go to the y-intercept, we're talking about all the values above this line. So it would be all of this. Okay, I have some students that always miss some spots. For example, this bottom quadrant. And you're supposed to go from the line all the way up. That's another reason that I asked you to always graph outside of that coordinate. Let's check the points. -3, 1, 2, 3, +2 is part of the solution because it's in the shaded area. 0, 0 would not be part of the solution because it's on the line. And that line is not included. That's why it's not part of the solution set. And then 2, 1, 2, 1. Is also not part of the solution because it's not part of that shaded area. Okay, for these, we're not going to check any of them for right now, just so we can save a little bit of time. For this one, don't forget that the equation is supposed to be y is equal to mx plus b. We're looking for the x to find the slope. This one does not have an x, so this is my y-intercept. So we start at the -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. For it to not have an x, we need the slope to be 0. That means that we don't move up or down, but we're always moving 1 to the right. So from here, we're not moving up or down, but 1 to the right. 1 to the right. So I'm going to say that again while you're writing that down. The slope for it not to have an x has to be 0. The denominator is always 1. That means we move to the right one. This is a dashed line. The reason that it's a dashed line is because there's no line underneath that inequality. That means that this line is not part of the solution. It says greater than, so anything above the line is what's supposed to be shaded. That gives us this whole area right here. You don't have to shade too hard, especially in case you make an error. We're going to keep this shaded lightly, and so we can redo it in case we need to. Anything on the shaded region would be a solution set. Don't forget that if it lands on the line and it's dashed, it's not part of the solution. All right, let's take a look at this one. This one has a -2 as my b. 1, 2. The slope would be -1. That means we're going to go down 1. If you can't see the denominator, it is 1 to the right. So down 1 to the right 1. Down and to the right. It is a dashed line because there's no line underneath an inequality. Make sure that it's dashed. Go outside of the graph, please. It helps me read it easier. And then since it's greater than, I'm looking for any value above that line, making this a whole solution set. Okay, now we're going to go to this side right here. When it has a line underneath the inequality, we say that that's a solid line. Our y-intercept is 0. And our slope is up 1 to the right 1. Up 1 to the right 1. Up 1 to the right 1. Oh, is it a dashed line or a solid line? Solid, because of the 9 underneath. Sorry about that. Let's make it a solid line with the arrows at the end. And that's another reason that I asked you to make it outside the graph so I could tell what you meant. Less than is anything underneath this line, and now your line is included. Anything on that line is part of the solution set. So 0, 0 is now part of the solution because it's on an included line. -3 and 1, 2, 3, up to 1, 2 is not part of the solution set. Let's try 2, 1, 2, 1 is part of the solution set because it's in the shaded region. So if it's on a solid line, it will be part of the solution set. Okay, let's take a look inside. We have a -4, so we're going to go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Our slope means that we're going to go down 2 to the right 1. 1, 2, so you could just pretend, and then to the right 1. Don't forget, you could also have done the reverse, which is up 2 to the left 1. Bring down that negative sign on the... It is a solid line because there's a line underneath that equal sign. It says less than, so anything below the line. And then don't forget to check the solution set just to save us some time. We won't. But don't forget that if it's on the line, then it would be part of the solution. Now let's take a look at this one. This one's not ready to graph, so we have to solve for y first. To solve for y, we had to subtract the 2x. That gives me 3y is less than or equal to, so we keep the inequality the same. I'm going to write the -2x first to keep it in the slope form, the slope-intercept form, and then plus 6. Now I'm going to divide by 3 to everything. It doesn't change the inequality because it's dividing by a positive. Y is less than or equal to -2/3 x plus 2. Our 2 is our y-intercept, so 1, 2. We're going to go down 2 to the right 3. Gonna make a solid line thanks to this line right here. And it says less than, so anything underneath that line. I'm going to say it again. Anything on this line will be part of your solution set because it is included with that equal sign. And anything in the shaded region, for example, 0, 0, would also be part of your solution. Okay. So this one, we have the y-intercept to be 0. The slope is up 1 to the right 1. It is a solid line. Shaded above or below? Above. Because it's greater than. Well, let's check the solutions. -3, 1, 2, 3. 2, 1, 2. Is that part of our solution? Yes, because it's part of that shaded region. 0, 0 is on the line, and the line's included, so yes, it's also part of our solution set. And then 2, 1, 2, 1 is not part of the solution because it's not part of that shaded region. Okay, let's graph. We have at the -1. We're going to go up 3 to the right 2. It's a solid line because of this symbol right here. And we're going to shade greater than. Don't forget to check the solutions, but then the last one, we have x is greater than or equal to a number. So we have a solid line thanks to this line right here. We're going to go to the x -2. And we should remember that this is a vertical line. What would be greater? Well, don't forget this is -3, -4, -5. So it would be the right-hand side. I'm going to tell you that sometimes people want to cheat me out of the shaded region. It goes all the way to the line that you graphed and all the coordinate that goes past it.